Recent consoles have given birth to some of the most creative and aesthetically brilliant video games seen in any generation. Amongst the sequential console wars and Grand Theft Hyperbole, the mid 2000s was also an era when the scattershot approach to releasing offbeat football franchises came to a screeching halt. At the height of the original PlayStation's popularity, there were over 30 different series dedicated to the beautiful game, which is a far cry from FIFA vs PES since around 2008. Unfortunately, with such great choice came huge differences in quality. Take a trip down memory lane with us. Last week did the best, so now we've got to do the worst football video games ever. Starting off with number 10, ISS Pro 98. The tongue-twistingly titled International Superstar Soccer Pro 98 was probably the strongest football sim of its time, but true to the franchise, it earned a place in the Gaming Hall of Shame for horrendously nonsense issues that meant gamers founders themselves with an England squad made up of almost made-up names, basically. Number 9 to Actua Soccer 3. It's a franchise that lingers in the memory of many fans, and after two previous editions that saw moderate success, the third instalment proved to be an nail in the coffin. There's a vanilla-flavoured football game that was devoid of flair and emotion, so Alan Shearer was a perfect fit for the cover, some might say, with the added bonus of Martin O'Neill on commentary. Moving on then to FIFA 2001. FIFA may be the undisputed king of football games for a long while now. With a long memory, you should remember that it hasn't always been this way. From the launch in 2001, those who were confident enough to spend £400 for the next-gen FIFA experience were left red-faced with the game's stupid AI coming to light. Moving on then to number 7, and that is Three Lions. It was an official video game of the England football team, and the precise moment we learned not to trust the FA with anything forward-thinking. The game was launched ahead of the 98 World Cup, and admirably attempts to produce a finishing product. Sadly, it didn't work, and while licensing kicks were a step forward, I think it's fair to say the gameplay on the whole definitely was not. Moving on then to number 6, and that's the Champions League 2001-2. YouTube comments are never the greatest barometer of truth, but when people say worst game ever, they may be right. The well-polished game turned out to be nothing more than FIFA lit, with a limited roster and a style of gameplay that was even more fanciful than what EA Sports came up with. This is the only football game where shooting on sight was probably the best policy. Moving on then to number 5, and that's Red Card. Well, the premise of Red Card appealed to kids who caught up on the wrong ends of the Studs Up challenge. The execution of football without rules was executed without much satisfaction. It just was very gimmicky, and it was going to football pre-Beckham, just chaos, but not in a good way. Moving on into number 4, and that's FIFA Away. The Wii was the most successful console of its generation, but the ill-fated FIFA Away ultimately fell flat. The addition of child-focused minigames saw FIFA temporarily turn into sensible soccer, but it didn't work too well, I think it's fair to say. It didn't last long, that style of game, basically. Moving on then to number 3, and that's O'Leary Manager 2000. There's a reason for football management games are generally left to PC, where anticipated visuals take a backseat to powerful data processing. On consoles they really work, and this is a key reason why. A game without much functionality, it was just a bit of a duller game, to be honest. Moving on into number 2, and that's PES Management. If it's an indictment of just how bad this was, it ranks worse than the previous one. While PES was far away from the best football franchise at the time, this was disastrous, the move into management simulation didn't work well. Just the graphics were awful, like you got Frank Lampard on the screen now, just really weird, and then just the whole stuff as well, it just didn't make sense. Arsene Wenger, Arsene Bemju, just an example, really poor. Moving on into number 1, and that's Chris Kamara's Street Soccer. We should have been surprised by this, but look at what's happened lately. Changed his name by default to Chris Kabanga, released England's official song for Euro 2012, and came out of retirement to play for Welsh Pool Town and Midwell Football League. The release is probably the PS1's most deeply buried secret, and needs to be played to be believed. Fancy releasing a version of the Amber style, okay? It really can't get worse, to be honest. But anyway guys, that's this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and any thoughts, comments down below. Follow us to the link description for daily football news, and subscribe to the channel on the screen, and that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching.